The MLB offseason is about to begin and free agency is almost here. But first up are the player and club options. Unlike free agency, which can take months, these decisions happen fast. Teams and players have just 5 days after the World Series to decide. Now let's dive into the options, and the first one is going to be with the Arizona Diamondbacks and Jordan Montgomery. He was one of the big clients for Scott Boras last winter, but he was treated like a bit of an afterthought and didn't sign until spring training. The Diamondbacks gave him a one-year deal with a player option for 2025. Montgomery's expected to accept this one-year deal, but there's a twist. Team owner Ken Kendrick has already publicly voiced regret over signing Montgomery, and he doesn't want to pay him for another year.
If anyone wants to blame anyone for Jordan Montgomery being a Diamondback, you're talking to the guy that should be blamed. I brought it to their attention. I pushed for it. They agreed to it. It wasn't in our game plan. You know, when he was signed right at the end of spring training, and looking back in hindsight, a horrible decision, to have invested that money in a guy that performed as poorly as he did.
But he really has no say. The choice here is all up to Montgomery. And the D-backs owner is hoping that criticizing Montgomery in the open will result in Montgomery declining this option. But there's no way in the world that Montgomery doesn't accept. And when he does, he could find himself on the trade block immediately, with the Diamondbacks looking to offload some of the $22.5 million owed to Montgomery. The sooner this is resolved, the better for everyone. Now, this might be a situation where another team is able to buy really low on Montgomery and get the Diamondbacks to pay off as much of his salary as possible. If so, keep an eye on Montgomery being linked to the Reds, Orioles, Brewers, and Red Sox this winter. All of these teams need starting pitching, and they're a natural fit for Montgomery. Next up is Nathan Eovaldi. He has a $20 million player option with the Texas Rangers, and on the Rangers side of things, there's a $2 million buyout. With Eovaldi turning 35 in February, he'll likely decline this option and look for one final multi-year payday. Despite his age, Eovaldi has shown no signs of slowing down. In 2024, he had a 3.80 ERA, a 3.47 xFIP, with an 8.75 K per 9 and just a little more than 2 walks per 9. In short, Eovaldi is consistent, and this year's performance is right in line with what he's done the last 5 years. Eovaldi is one of the most reliable, yet underrated starting pitchers in baseball, and he should receive a lot of interest this winter. We predict that Eovaldi will decline this $20 million player option and elect for free agency. Next up is Cody Bellinger. He's looking at a 2-year, $52.5 million player option with the Chicago Cubs with a $2.5 million buyout, and there's an additional opt-out after next season. Last winter, Bellinger signed a 3-year, $80 million deal with the Chicago Cubs. It included player options in 2025 and 2026, so Bellinger can opt out this year or next year, and he's still only 29 years old. He was looking for a long-term deal last year, and he'll be looking for the same this winter again. But can he find a better contract than the one he signed a year ago? The answer lies in the numbers. In both 2023 and 2024, Bellinger played 130 games, but he took a big step back in 2024, dropping from 26 home runs to only 18 this year. He had 20 stolen bases last year, only 9 this year. In 2023, he had a 136 WRC+, and this year it was only 109. That's just above your average hitter. His slash line this year was 266 with a 325 on base and 426 slugging. Last year, he looked like one of the top free agents with an 881 OPS, but this year that dropped down to 751. Bellinger's drop in performance will not bring him a new deal worth $26 million per year. We can all agree on that. It looks like his best bet is to accept the option and aim for a bounce-back season in 2025, and then hope to springboard into free agency once again a year from now. If he does that, the pressure is back on Bellinger in 2025 to put up a big year. If you're enjoying this, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. Then let's head over to the Chicago White Sox and Yoan Moncada. In 2017, Yoan Moncada was the #1 prospect in all of baseball. Just 2 years later, in 2019, he hit 25 home runs with a 915 OPS, good enough for a 5.2 WAR. Moncada looked like a superstar in the making, so the White Sox signed him to their biggest extension in franchise history worth $70 million. That was in 2020, and it also included a club option for 2025. This winter, the White Sox can either bring back Moncada for $25 million, or they can opt for the $5 million buyout. Moncada was considered a sure thing just a few years ago, and he was one of the cornerstones of the White Sox. Since he signed that extension, it's been nothing but disappointment. His best season came in 2019. and again, that was before he signed this extension. Over the course of his 5-year extension, his power evaporated. Worth only 6.8 WAR combined over the last 5 years, Moncada appears to be cooked. This one's a no-brainer for the White Sox. Moncada has struggled, and the hefty $25 million price tag makes it very easy for Chicago to pass. At this point, it's possible that 2019 is the best season we'll ever see from Yoan Moncada. That said, he's still only 29 years old, and let's not forget that once upon a time, Jose Bautista kickstarted his career into another gear at the age of 29. So it's too soon to write off Moncada. Someone will take a chance on him this winter in free agency, and if he's fully healthy, he might be one of the best available deals to be found. Next, let's take a look at Frankie Montas and the Milwaukee Brewers. Last winter, Frankie Montas signed a 1-year, $16 million deal with the Reds. He was dealt to the Milwaukee Brewers at the trade deadline, and over the course of 30 starts with the Brewers and the Reds, he threw 150 2/3 innings with a .484 ERA. This coming season, Frankie Montas will be 32 years old. This is who he is, but the fact that he lasted a full season without injury should help his value this winter. His option is $20 million, and it's a mutual option with a $2 million buyout. We expect the Brewers to pay the $2 million and move on from Montas without hesitation. The $20 million price tag is reasonable, but they're not likely to take a bite at that price. We've got a full slate of MLB Hot Stove content coming your way all off-season long. If you're not subscribed yet, give it a try. Next, Robbie Ray and the San Francisco Giants. Due to injuries, Robbie Ray has only thrown 34 innings over the last 2 seasons. He started 1 game in 2023, then he got hurt, and he returned for 7 games this year. At 33, there are more questions than answers about Robbie Ray. But the good news is, he kind of looked like the old Robbie Ray at the end of the year. So if he's fully healthy next spring, he could be in line for a big season with a lot of strikeouts as always. That said, the significant amount of time that he's missed over the last 2 years will impact his value at the moment. So because of that, we predict that he is almost certain to stick with his 2-year deal, taking that guaranteed $50 million. Then next, we're going to stay with the Giants, and we'll take a look at Blake Snell. He's looking at a 1-year, $30 million player option. Fresh off another stellar season, Snell is bound to test the market for a longer-term deal. Just last year, he won the National League Cy Young Award. He threw his first career no-hitter this season, and during the second half, he was the best pitcher in all of baseball with a 1.45 ERA, 2.7 WAR, an astounding 13.57 K per 9 in just over 68 innings. No one was even close to him. He'll likely pass on this $30 million player option and aim for a contract that carries him through the rest of his prime. Make no mistake, Blake Snell is the best available pitcher in baseball this winter. He's about to get paid. And finally, let's talk about Gerrit Cole and the New York Yankees. Gerrit Cole remains one of the top pitchers in baseball. He's looking at a 4-year player option worth $144 million. But if he does opt out, the Yankees can then trigger a 5-year, $180 million club option. And this was all by design. Gerrit Cole will almost certainly opt out, but there's no way the Yankees will let their ace walk. They'll lock him up through 2029 with the $180 million deal. This is all just a means to an end for Cole and the Yankees to extend their deal an extra year. Gerrit Cole is not going anywhere. He'll finish his career in pinstripes. Next up, we've got a wild offseason and free agency. To make sure you don't miss our hot stove coverage this offseason, hit subscribe. And there you have it. You've made it to the end of this episode, and we really appreciate that. Hit the like button down below. Then take just 1 second of your time and make sure down below that you are subscribed to this channel. We ask that you do, because that guarantees that we definitely get to see you back here next time. Thanks for watching.